So your February 2026 forecast on the screen is your event chart with a big cluster of energy, a stellium in the sign of Aquarius, which can be progressive, open-minded, very much about friendship, long-term plans, but it can be rebellious. But the seventh house for you can be your connections to others. That can be in terms of friendships, it can be to do with interests, it can be to do with business partnerships, but it can, of course, be to do with personal relationships. Now, having Venus in the seventh house as you come into this month, pretty close to your ruler, the Sun, is a glorious location for her. She's also very close to Mercury. That sparkling combination can help you to sharpen up your listening skills, but use your diplomacy to the max. But if you look on the other side of your chart, the moon starts February just shielded in the 12th house of your chart, but will emerge into your zodiac sign later on the 1st and go face to face with the Sun in Aquarius. So you have a Leo full moon. So the following 2 weeks is going to ask you to think about those connections, but to make sure that your voice, but your individuality and your radiance is not lost in terms of how much you're giving to other people. And those alliances that are highlighted by Aquarius could be all sorts of connections, friendships, around interests, business colleagues, but it can also be around personal relationships and intimate ones too. But the conjunction between Venus and Mercury, although it is delightful, it is in a challenging angle to Jupiter as we go into this new month. Jupiter, since May last year, has been asking you to become much more conscious of the spiritual dimension of your life. You may have found yourself doing some deep thinking. You may have downloaded knowledge or worked with someone to do with your emotional health or spiritual dimension, and that may have been very valuable. But Jupiter enters this month still in retrograde, but it is in conjunction, a quincunx, with both Venus and Mercury. And if there is any nagging doubt in the back of your mind around certain connections, I feel that that aspect is going to be powerful. And the full moon, frankly, could make you much more conscious of where you don't feel heard or respected. If you feel it's a case of a lot of give but not so much get, those relationships could be scrutinized by the power of the full moon. But also because Mars, the planet of action, and Pluto, the planet of transformation, are very close together as you go into this month. If you're not feeling it and someone isn't showing you respect, you could be much more assertive about letting them know about what your boundaries are. And good for you if so. But also the planet of rebellion, Uranus, ends a long retrograde on the 4th. Now Uranus is going to be a major player this month. Despite going forwards, it is going to clash with the solar eclipse of the 17th, the first in a new series in your sector of relating, Aquarius, but it's also going to clash very powerfully with Mars towards the end of this month too. So if there is someone you feel does tend to browbeat you, be dismissive, doesn't listen, changes the subject, it's something that you could find yourself becoming more and more angry about and more inclined to push back and be more assertive. And why not indeed? But by the 6th, Mercury, followed on the 10th by Venus, move into your 8th house. The 8th house is a very spiritual dimension because it's the final zodiac sign, very much to do with culmination, Pisces, and Mercury here can be a bit blurry. It's harder to keep clarity, particularly around things like long-term financial planning and shared resources. But it is joined by Venus on the 10th, and Venus loves being in Pisces. If there is someone you're really getting on well with, the move of Venus, particularly into Pisces, can help you to get much closer to them. You could also benefit in a long-term relationship by a partner or a colleague's good good luck or good fortune, and perhaps even financially. But on the 14th, we get the event that I feel will grab the most interest this month, and that is Saturn returning to the sign of Aries. But of course, Saturn did move into Aries from the end of May last year to the 1st of September. And if you did find yourself thinking a lot about your purpose, your higher values, education, even around where you locate your life, I really wouldn't be surprised. Now, of course, Saturn rejoins Neptune like it did last year, and they are coming into a perfect conjunction on the 20th. So I think your philosophies that guide you are going to come sharply into focus. And if there's some parts of your life that you're not really enjoying, for example, if you travel a lot for your work, but it tends to crush your energy, that may be something you'll want to change. If you feel that your life is a bit humdrum, it may be that you're going to have to work hard to learn some new skills or knowledge in order to change things. Saturn is always multifaceted. And of course, Neptune being there as well is very dreamlike. And there may be a part of you that starts to think a lot about long distant travel or unusual places and can be very evocative. But Saturn moving here does forge a terrific link to Pluto in that sector of relating. So just know that if there's something that you want to evolve and you need to be more assertive about that with someone close to you, that combination can be very helpful. But I think the big event really for you is on the 17th of January, because then the first of a solar eclipse series in Aquarius for 8 years forges a very tense angle to Uranus, which is in the part of your scope to do with your connection to the world. And if there are some people that you work with that you don't find easy, who tend to be very changeable, who don't understand that you actually enjoy a degree of stability and continuity, that could be something that shows up a lot in the following 6 months. But by the 18th, the Sun plays catch up with Mercury and Venus, diving deep into your 8th house. If there's something that you need to mull over and think deeply about, especially around a relationship matter, you're going to be doing it over the following month. But on the 26th, Mercury does go retrograde. And if you are thinking about anything to do with investments, long-term financial planning, a business matter, a long-term loan, just make sure you've really got all the details very, very clear. But Mercury retrogrades give us opportunities, and that tends not to get flagged. Only the fact that it can cause issues with travel, with ticketing, with technology, all which we know can occur. But I think for you, the opportunity is to understand what you truly want from the most invested and deepest relationships in your life. Now, through the last week of this month, we do have Mars and Uranus in a very abrasive right angle. So again, if you're not really enjoying your work and it is to do with the connections you have with others which seem unpredictable or seem very forceful or very edgy, then again you could be thinking about the potential for a change. But pleasingly, there is a beautiful link between Jupiter and Venus as the month comes to a close too. You may find out about something that has more value for you, and it could be financial, than you may have realised, which could be very pleasing. But also, as the month comes to a close, Mercury and Venus are in a conjunction, as they are, of course, at the start of the month, but in your 8th house. So whatever you're thinking about at the start of the month, Leo, as far as balancing what you give and get around relationships, or if you meet someone new who's very exciting and brings a sense of spark and anticipation to your life, by the end of the month, it's the evolution from all of that that's going to be so powerful. And 8th house energy can be very psychological. There may be something you need to release in order to gain something new, create the space within you. And it may be around a very intimate relationship, but the converse could be true. You could find yourself becoming more devoted and much more connected to someone that's very special and worthy of you. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do like, hype or comment the video. If you've yet to subscribe, do so now. And please also join me at patrickarundel.com. We've made even more changes to the website and it's really coming together now. If you've yet to order your personal forecast for the next 12 months, please see the link below and get half price, 50% off.